Well, joining me now, Reverend Al Sharpton. He is joining with the left-wing activist group, Acorn, and calling for the resignation of Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Joining me now are Reverend Sharpton of the National Action Network. Good to have you with us. And Acorn CEO and Chief Organizer, Bertha Lewis. Bertha, good to have you with us. Well, let's start. I mean, this is unusual in that this investigation started with a call, Bertha, for an investigation by 4 Democratic senators, congressmen, which looks on its face to be politicization of the U.S. Justice Department.
Well, it didn't start there. This started 2 years ago. Sheriff Arpaio has been doing his reign of terror for a very long time.
Did you just say reign of terror?
Absolutely,
okay.
And I mean that. And it's been arresting people simply because of the color of their skin or their language. You can't tell whether someone is legal or illegal, or, you know, and he's using 287G. So the outcry that had come up from citizens all across Maricopa County forced these Democrats to at least take some action, and the Department of Justice has them under investigation.
Reverend Sharpton, as Bertha just said, there are 4 congressmen who called for this, but not a single one of them from the state of Arizona.
Well, first of all, I think that the reason National Action Network and I got involved, and there was national board members from the NAACP, other civil rights groups on the call today, La Raza and others, is because our members that live in Arizona have raised this. So I don't know whether members of Congress in Arizona have raised it. I talked to people that were citizens, and I think the thing that broke the camel's back was when he started parading people through the streets. I mean, this is, he took a group of prisoners, paraded them to the streets from one jail to another. I mean, this is a bit beyond the pale. But on top of that, when you get people that are born American citizens saying because of the color of my skin, I'm constantly pulled over, questioned about show my citizenship papers, this is a violation of people's civil rights. This has nothing to do with anything personal. None of us know the sheriff personally. None of us have there's certainly no political agenda in a county in Arizona for many of us that are function nationally. But when we are told that you have a sheriff that are pulling people over constantly because of the color of their skin, they become a suspect of being an illegal immigrant, that's a civil rights violation, Lou.
Well, indeed, I think that would be the case if that indeed is true. But the issue seems to be one, in the community in which he lives, Sheriff Arpaio, that is Maricopa County, he was reelected by an enormous margin. He's been a member of the 287G Justice Department program, giving him the authority to enforce immigration laws. His office has been investigated, not investigated, but reviewed by the folks who administer the program, and nothing found to be a problem.
As of yet. But as you said, we're in the middle of an investigation. We don't know where that investigation will go. Secondly, the prerequisites of not being guilty of doing a violation of civil rights is not if you were reelected. If that was the case, many people would have done civil rights violations just on the basis that they were reelected. I think the case is that there is substantial evidence. The chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, John Conyers, and others have also felt there's enough evidence to go forward and investigate. And I think that these issues have to be dealt with, independent of your position on immigration. You and I may not agree on immigration, but I don't think you agree that people based on color ought to be pulled over and automatically become a suspect.
Yeah, I think we'd agree on the latter. You and I would even agree on immigration. It's where you and I disagree is on illegal immigration.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think we do.
Either. None of us.
You are against amnesty. I'm for sanity. So I think we're.
And you seem to think that the two are equivalents, and I don't.
No, I don't at all.
We believe. I mean, Acorn has a lot of members in Arizona, and this, as I say, this has been going on for 2 years, and folks are coming together more and more. And we believe that, first of all, the 287G program needs to be suspended. And Arpaio needs to resign or be removed right away.
Why?
He actually is giving law enforcement folks who do the right thing a bad name. Let me just say this. The federal government's job is to protect our borders and to make sure that we have a sane immigration program.
How are they doing?
And so therefore, we cannot have people like Arpaio taking anything that he wants to do and profiling based on people's color. It's not right.
You conflated a number of things. One, that he is indeed racial profiling, which he denies, which, by the way, his department denies, and over a fifth of his department is Hispanic, by the way. The rest of that statement that's interesting is, I ask you, how is the federal government doing in enforcing border security and in enforcing U.S. immigration law? And what's ironic about that is that Janet Napolitano, the Secretary of Homeland Security, as governor of Arizona, was the first person to call for emergency action on the border in her state.
Well, again, we're confusing two issues. I think what National Action Network and NAACP board and others joined with Acorn today on was on the violation of civil rights. We're not talking about immigration policy one way or another on that issue. Arpaio and the misuse of 287G, we're saying there seems to be a pattern of civil rights violation. That's independent of what Napolitano is doing and anyone else. Secondly, I think that what becomes very important here is that to say that a fifth of his sheriff's department is Latino. You know, when we started making racial profiling a national issue, it was on the New Jersey Turnpike. A large percentage of their state troopers were Latino and black. But we were able to prove in court, the late Johnny Cochran and National Action Network, that they were in fact profiling. So one does not disprove the other.